And we're going to talk about the ego of Tony Khan as we roll into Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. So here's Conan on the ego of Tony Khan. Oh, sorry. Let me turn
That
this.
I've always said, and I still feel this way. Let me ask you this, Conan. One of the things that I've always said, and I still feel this way, that the biggest issue with AEW may be Tony Khan himself in the inability to handle constructive criticism. Is that something
no,
that
he
you
takes, bro, he takes everything personally.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, dude, okay, I'm the booker for AAA in Mexico, right?
Right.
And all these smart marks, and they hate that word to be used, so I use it on purpose just to piss them off. All the smart marks, are
Same.
always telling me, well, you did this wrong and you did this wrong. Okay, let's tackle that subject. So let me see if I got this right. So you're a wrestling fan for 10 or 15 years and you've gone to shows and but me, that I've been in the business, been in the dressing room, have drawn in Mexico, went to WCW, all the things that I've done, been in creative,
Conan does packed houses. Have you guys ever heard me diss Conan's booking or anything in Mexico? Nope.
somehow know more than me. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Yeah. And bro, there's a lot of disrespect, like, oh, the old heads. You know what? You might learn something from the old heads if you listen and just saying they're old, because we were around when wrestling was fucking blowing up. Teddy was in WWE when they were blowing up, and WCW was blowing up. Like, there's things from old school because this is the way I book. I take things that I know will always work from the old school, that will always work no matter what, because one-on-one is always.
Look at them all nodding their heads. Do you want to know why? And like, hey, I'm not from the old school wrestling booking. I just work in shit where we write shit that makes sense. And guess what?
Right.
Look at all these guys nodding their heads. Listen to what Conan's saying, guys. This is so important.
Because this is the way I book. I take things that I know will always work from the old school, that will always work no matter what, because one-on-one is always.
So me, as a writer, I'd be a new school guy personally, but I agree with these guys. Why? Because wrestling's been around for like 100 years or whatever. It's been like 100 years, 150 years at this point, right? Like, and there's certain shit that's always worked in it. So you got to do that. It's like a movie. There's certain things that always work. There's like rules. We talked about this way earlier in the show, and I just get it. And I don't know, like, people just need to get this, and then it'll all be good. And Triple H gets this, so we're lucky because we get it in WWE. Shawn Michaels gets this in NXT. If you're a lapsed wrestling fan, if you're like, I'll throw on Collision, maybe throw on NXT. If you don't, just throw it on. If we can add any value, if we're shills, fuck it. WWE shills, fuck it. But PWT, if we could tell you anything, the character work and the stuff they do in NXT. I mean, if you don't like main roster WWE, it's different and it's really good. Check it out. But yeah, Tony doesn't like none of that, and he doesn't like the old heads. Exactly. The old heads, there's shit that's worked in wrestling for 150 fucking years that people have been doing in carnivals, like way longer than what's on the books. Wrestling was around long, worked matches, worked shoot fights were way before the books were ever kept. Like, you know what I mean? So Conan gets it, Teddy gets it, this guy right here gets it. Is that Kevin Sullivan? Who the fuck is that? I don't know who that is. Mac Davis, but it's good shit.
Right. And then I take some of the stuff that the new fans like, and I can incorporate them.
So yeah, Hairline, just your thoughts on what Conan, keeping it real. And he said Tony has a fragile ego and he doesn't like when old heads question him.
Well, yeah, it's because they all just have that same attitude of like their shit doesn't stink and like they don't need feedback because they're doing everything correctly, but clearly they're not. Otherwise the numbers wouldn't be drastically dropping here.
Now, when people say, oh, the numbers don't matter, just because WWE has the most viewers, does that make them the best? Yeah, because AEW is a TV show, right? So if WWE does better TV ratings, then that means they're the best. Because if AEW was doing a house show loop and they were drawing on average more And like even let's say this. Let's say if AEW had less TV viewers, right?
Right.
But on the house show loops, they were drawing more money per capita or whatever, right? Like you started dropping stats on me like, yo, in the house show loops, though, they actually have bigger crowds. They run smaller venues, but their merch sales in comparison to, and they have, so the expenses of WWE mixed with this. Okay, I'll listen to that, but they're not doing that. They're just a TV show. So all we can go off of is the TV rating. So even when Raw's doing shitty, don't really matter because people are watching football and that's a legit excuse. But when it comes to AEW, who says we can take over WWE, okay, then when football's on, you better still draw a million like WWE can still do. Because otherwise you're talking shit, like otherwise you're not even the same thing. You're like a different thing that's going on. And it's just like we're just being objective here, right? Like, I'm sorry, I don't need to freebase the same way. Anyways, Hairline. Tony Khan allegedly banned AEW talent from watching the 2023 Royal Rumble. Hairline.
Dummy.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
So
That's
he
super fun.
banned now. Guys, I'm not just coming at this like, oh, I bookmarked, Phil bookmarked the thing, and it's true. I looked at there was like a bunch of shit. There's like a bunch of people going, yes. Like he didn't even want people watching. Now I'm sure it's a salacious ringside news is salacious. I'm sure it's blown out of proportion. I'm sure it's not entirely accurate. But where there's smoke, there's fire, and possibly he did request that people did not watch this Royal Rumble. And if that's the case, God damn, that's pretty petty, Hairline. What do you think? That's like some Vince shit. Yeah, don't let them watch the Casino Battle Royal. Imagine if Vince was in a meeting. Yeah, Hairline. We can't let them watch the Casino Battle Royal because no one's gonna join the Kiss My Ass.
What's the source here? Like, where are they getting this information
Well, we
from?
can click on the article. So it's Ringside News. So I don't want to. Ringside News is pretty fucked. Like their drama, their internet wrestling drama is pretty fucked. But that aside, it's like they're not.
Yeah, okay.
So the reason I paired it with the Conan video is like, do you think Tony's ego is that strong to where he's like, don't even watch the Royal Rumble?
I wouldn't say his ego is that strong, but I would say he's that insecure. 100%.
Like especially around Royal Rumble season when it's like,
Right.
everyone's just talking about WWE. I just thought it was interesting, but I ain't believing anything off of he said, she said. Yeah, you're right. I've heard people saying Conan said it, but I need to see a clip.
Conan?